And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with Andrew Hall. Now, well, Andrew, thank you for getting up early and for squeezing me into your calendar, sir.
Not a problem. And you, Michael, you had it kind of right in the beginning. Andrei.
Andrei, I
missed it. Not a problem.
Thank you for correcting Andrei. Andrei is he's a financial advisor, but he's really, I love this, America's retirement asset distribution professional. And that, in my mind anyway, puts you in a different category that I really want to dive into, okay?
All right, sounds good.
As we get ready to take that plunge, tell us, how in the world did you get to doing what you do today?
Well, I came from the corporate world about 19 years ago. 19 years ago, I decided that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to stop traveling the way I was traveling. And I had started doing this, dabbling in it, and then getting even more deeper into it while I was in the corporate world.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I had a large number of employees that reported in to me when I was in the corporate world as a vice president at two different corporations and corporate officer, Fortune 100 corporations. And people unfortunately passed away. Sometimes it was the employee themselves. Sometimes it was the spouse of that employee. And either way, both sides, whether it's the employee coming to me or the spouse coming to me, at some point, you know, I'm talking to them, offering my condolences, and they're saying, what do I do? I got a couple of folks that are calling me, et cetera, but I don't know if it's the right thing. So I started doing research. I started helping people out. One of the things that one of my bosses, matter of fact, at the highest level, CEO level, always said to me, you know, you're too nice. And so I just couldn't just leave those people in the dust and them not having any kind of direction. So I started doing the work to understand what are the type of things and decisions that are most important at that stage, because it's after the fact. They can't change trust and wills and things of that nature because the person's passed away. So what can you do? So that's how it really started. Okay. And and several of those folks were close friends at the same time. Even though they may have worked for me, they were still close friends. And so that is how it started. But at the same time, I just kept diving deeper and deeper. And when it came time where I finally made the decision that I didn't want to travel, I'm a couple of million miles flyers on two different airlines. I didn't want to travel that way anymore. I spent as many as 250 days a year, 4 different years in hotel rooms. I didn't want to do that anymore. So that's how I got into it on a full-time professional basis. And it's been the best thing I've ever done.
That's awesome. I love that story. Everybody has a story to tell, and I think you start knowing people as you hear their story, because it resonates with a lot of people, because we've been in similar situations. I want to dive into this distribution professional, because a lot of financial advisors talk a lot about what we would say is accumulating money or gaining money for retirement. How much are you saving every month? How big is your nest egg? And that's part of the equation. But as you said, you know, at that point in time when somebody passes away or you retire, that part's kind of done. You can help people with that, but it seems like your focus is kind of on how do you keep that money working for you through retirement? Because from the time you retire to the time you die is a whole different equation from when you're 30 trying to get to retirement. And there are different rules and things. So talk to us a little bit about this whole distribution of assets and things in retirement. What is that at a big level? And then we'll dive in deeper.
Well, first of all, a lot of people don't realize it. Most people's working lives are 30 to 35 years, 40 years or so, retirement can be almost as long.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. Because we just going back a little bit, when Social Security was first started, you started getting Social Security at 65. But the average age someone lived to back then was 62. So the expectation wasn't that a lot of people were going to be able to collect really on Social Security. But if you happen to be one of those few lucky ones, yes, you would. But the difference between a lot of people focus on the accumulation, how much the portfolio is making each year, without realizing that through the accumulation and in retirement, the question becomes, how much do you keep versus how much does it make? And the real key there is that you have to have things, your overall portfolios, all your assets positioned in ways to minimize taxes. Okay, it's going to be better to earn 5 or 6% on your, and obviously we always want to do better, but it's going to be better to earn 5 or 6% if you can really truly minimize taxes in a significant way in the retirement distribution phase. So the distribution phase is absolutely, quite frankly, more important than the accumulation phase.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a quote. I think it was Ed Slott, but you since you were with the Ed Slott group and all that, you could make this true. But I think he said something like, it's more important how much you keep versus how much you save, or something like that. And the point was, you might save a $2 million for retirement, but if you're going to lose a bunch of it through taxes and everything, you're probably better off saving $1 million and avoiding all those taxes. Or it was something like that. When I got my head around that, I thought, that's really an intriguing concept. Am I close?
Yes, you are. Okay. Yes, you are. It is all about not what you make, but what you keep. It's simple as that. I mean, it's when it comes to the distribution phase, if all of your money is in an IRA or just a regular IRA or just a regular 401k, basically you are enlarging your debt for the government, because they're taxing when the dollars come out, you're going to be taxed on the whole amount. So you start off with, let's say through the years, you saved $1 million and it grows to 3 million. Guess what? The government, between federal and state right now, they're going to take, if you're in California, New York, or whatever, close to 40% as those dollars are coming out. The issue is, what's going to happen in the future? Okay, in the future, the debt that this country has right now, forget about the politics, the debt that this country has right now is likely taxes are going to go up. But some people are saying, well, taxes are high now. We got to look back to, in the 60s, it was that the federal tax rate was top tax rate was 91%. So we're not going to get to 91%, but at the same time, it's going to go up more than likely. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but the government doesn't manufacture or make anything.
Right.
All of their money and revenue comes from taxes, and they got a debt that they got to, at some point, stop kicking that can down the road and start paying off some of that debt. Now, the issue is, as the debate is going on right now, what do they take out? Well, it can't be drastic things. When neither party is going to agree to drastic things. They all got their priorities. And the question becomes, how do they start compromising and working together? Because they got to.
That's right.
I shouldn't say that, because they don't feel they got to.
They don't feel they need to. We sure wish they would.
Right.
The other thing, it's interesting. Yeah. So minimizing taxes. And I know you've got some strategies to help some people if they've got all their money in a tax deferred and versus a Roth and all that we can go in some other time. But as I look at retirement, and I've worked with some widows trying to get them all set up, the number one concern they had, at least the ones I worked with, is they said, Michael, I don't want to go be a Walmart greeter. I've been a homeschooling mom for 20 years. I don't want to work. And what they were, what she was really saying is, I need a paycheck that's going to pay me month in, month out, and I never have to worry about that. And as I think about retirement, that seems to be the number one issue, is consistent income to cover all my bills and things. If I've got more than that, great. But I need that. Is that what most people in retirement, is that like the bottom, the foundation is guaranteed income, and then we build on top of that? Or how do you approach it when somebody's thinking about this distribution phase of retirement? What's like most important to most people?
Well, several things. First of all, you want all of their monies in the best buckets you can get them into, i.e. a Roth, whether it's a Roth IRA, Roth 401k, you want them in the Roth bucket.
Mm-hmm.
You want them in, quite frankly, cash value insurance buckets, because those dollars can come out of that bucket if you built it, took the time to build it up through your 50s and 60s, so that the money's coming out just like a Roth, tax-free, because you can only put so much in that Roth bucket. Right. You can do conversions of your regular 401k or regular traditional IRA, but obviously you're taxed at that time. So there's a lot of different strategies that go into getting the bucket to the tax-free bucket that you should be utilizing. Now, that's one piece. That is the pre-retirement things you do. And there's some of those things you will also do in retirement. But at the same time, the question that you ask in regards to the foundation, that becomes part of the foundation, but obviously you have Social Security. Some people still do have some small pensions, not too many, right. Definitely not large pensions, but some people still have some small pensions. You got to put all of those things together. You look at, okay, how much money can this portfolio of all their assets generate in retirement? Usually you want to position a certain piece of that, not all of it, but a certain piece of that for the guaranteed income, the guaranteed paycheck to go along with Social Security and anything else they have that's guaranteed, so that they can pay all their fixed expenses.
Yes.
Now that's key. At the same time, the vehicle that most people are going to utilize, to be honest, is going to be an annuity. Some people are averse to an annuity, but at the same time, you know, you got to look at what the best options are out there. And I'm not pushing annuities or anything, but it's guaranteed for life. So, and like anything else, there's good advisors, there's bad advisors. There's good attorneys, there's bad attorneys. There's good doctors and bad doctors. There's good annuities and bad annuities. Absolutely. But you want to find the right kind of vehicle that's going to meet your requirements, so that you do have that guaranteed income for life, and you have that foundation that, you know, I always use this, you're never going to have to eat dog food. Okay. Right. Back in the old days, people used to talk about older people that didn't have assets or whatever eating dog food because it was cheap. Although it's not cheap anymore. So I probably shouldn't use that anymore. People spend more on their pets for medical coverage than they spend on their kids.
Not again. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned annuities, because it's weird. Annuities have a bad rap, and it's because people are misinformed, because everybody says, well, I love Social Security and I like my pension. But I think what they don't understand, and I'm not a financial advisor, right? But I think both of those are annuities, or they're forms of annuities. It's just so anyway, it's misinformation. And you're right. Annuities, a number of years ago, Some of them are really bad. They are wicked cool now. There are some of them that are amazing, but that's why you need somebody like you to work with Andrei to go, here's what I got. Here's my money. It's in 17 different buckets right now. What should I do? What can I do? And then let him figure it all out, because you've got the expertise, the knowledge to go, here are some options based on your life, based on your what's going on in your world. Here's what we would recommend, and have a discussion with your clients. And that's really, I think, where it comes into is the discussion, you understanding where the client is in order to be able to recommend what is the right pathway for them. Is that kind of how it works?
To a certain degree, basically, you want to make sure you understand the client first, though. You got to understand all the things associated with the client. You got to do a complete 360. You got to look and say, okay, if this is someone in their 40s and they got parents in their 70s, what kind of responsibility would this person have later on in life, okay, to help take care of their parents? Are they positioned to do that? How will it affect their families? And in the same breath, that parent to that person in their 40s or 50s, what would happen if something happened to one of the spouses and that would affect their grandkids? Would they have to step in? Would they have to offer dollars to ensure that the grandkids' standard of living stayed where it was? And everybody wants to take care of their grandkids.
Right.
Sometimes they don't want to take care of their kids, but they want to take care of their grandkids. And so you got to look at all the pieces and look at all the family dynamics, whether there's going to be issues that a person's going to have to step in for siblings or whatever. What I do is try to not just look at the dollar pieces, but you look at all the risk involved. As an example, you don't want a lot of people have umbrella policies today, as an example.
Right.
But the issue is most people have $1 million, maybe $2 million, and they may be worth $8 to $10 million or $20 million. Guess what? They're still going to get all your assets because you only insured for $1 million or $2 million. And yes, you didn't want to pay that extra $1,000 a year to make sure someone couldn't walk away with $10 million of your money if something bad were to happen. And bad things do happen. There are 27,000 car accidents every 3 seconds in this country. Now, are most of them serious? No, but a lot of them are. And in this day and age, the way people sue, you can be going 5 miles an hour and they say they're disabled for life.
That's right.
And heaven forbid you hit a doctor or someone, a teenager. You should not have that car in your name with a teenager. Every parent does, though. There's a lot of things you have to look at, how you position your assets to minimize risk so that you keep your asset. So that's all a part of comprehensive planning, all a part of making sure someone has the right retirement, not just how much money you got, how much is those dollars earning each year, but you have to make sure you've looked at everything. And I mean, there are probably about 25 or 30 risk factors out there that we go through to minimize and transfer as much risk or cancel out that risk as possible.
Wow. That just opened up a whole Pandora's box that we're not going to go into, but what it did is it highlighted, Andrei, the wealth of knowledge and understanding you have in this world, because so many people, all they think about is how much have I saved and what's the rate of return. And what you just opened up is those two things are important, but they're only 2 out of 22, let's say, or whatever, that we need to look at that whole picture, because what if? And you've got to protect, you've got to make sure you preserve, money, and that you're going to have not only money for the rest of your life, but to pass on to those grandkids, right? Skip the kids. Get it to the grandkids. And how do you do that? And for most of us entrepreneurs, we are focused on our business. We're really good at our business. You live in a world that's crazy. I call it a rat maze because there's so many ways you could go. And man, there are so many voices out there screaming at us. We need a voice of reason. I think that's what you are. And that's why I wanted you on my show today, and to help my audience understand that there's somebody you can reach out to, have a conversation with, get some wisdom. How in the world would somebody find you? Where would they go to just take a next step and begin a conversation with you if they're thinking about these things?
Well, on LinkedIn, I'm just under Andrei, spelled with an I, Andrei, Hall, Hall.
Okay.
So that's where you would go for LinkedIn. YouTube at Hall Wealth, Hall Wealth, WEALTH. Facebook.com/Hall Wealth. My website is hwmg-lpl.com. Again, HWMG, Hall Wealth Management Group, -LPL.com. And my phone number is 949-222-6401.
Awesome. So I am going to take that information, and especially the online information, and put it in the show notes. So if somebody's out walking the dog, taking a car ride, whatever, they can come back to the show notes to find those links, because what you've shared today has been super helpful, very enlightening, because so many times we are only focused on the dollars and the return, and there's so many more things you need to look at in order to preserve the money you've worked so hard to earn, so that you understand how to best distribute it through the years of retirement, which, as you said earlier, might last longer than you work. That's crazy. But Andrei, thank you for being here. This has been really, really exciting. I'm going to put all this in the show notes. So if you're thinking about retirement, if you're in retirement, if you have questions, reach out, go to the show notes, find the links, watch his videos, connect with him, and just have a conversation to see how in the world he can help you manage your life better through retirement.
Thank you very much, Michael, for having me here. Really enjoyed it, and just have a great rest of the week and take care.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Thank you.